Oh, hi everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some more Blades in the Dark today. So before we jump in and say hello to all of these lovely people around the table, just a few things from me. Please check out the links coming up in chat now. It includes the Discord. We have a channel just for this game, and we'd love to hear what you think, or if you have any theories as to what is going on. If you've missed out on anything, you can head over to YouTube and catch up on all of our games, as we've put them all in playlists so that you can find it all easily. If you'd like to get into a game, go over to Twitter and drop Scrat a DM and we will get you a game. Also, please check out the content warning for this game. It is a grimdark game, so just to give you a bit of a heads up, please go check that out. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Mageham Press. You may have seen their Fae Folio yesterday, which is one of our viewer games if you want to give it a go. But you can also now get their Dark Matter in hardback, which is basically D&D in space, which everyone should have in their lives. Also, we had the Deck of Many with the Deck of Many Things and the magic moving. Oh, my camera's reversed. And the magic moving spell cards, which you can see there, which you can add as a donation here to influence the game. They are also releasing a Kickstarter in May with lots and lots of wonderful things. One of my favorite things being, again, moving cards, but they are releasing their own tarot set, which will be able to be used in games. I've seen some of the designs for it, and it's looking really good. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, Hero Forge with their painted minis. Scrat and I currently have a show at 2 p.m. EDT on Wednesdays where we design characters, we color them using their new beta with all the new textures and everything, and more things are being added soon. So please check that out. Last but certainly not least, also Dungeon Fog, whether it's for a campaign or a one-shot, it's got your map making needs and you can put your notes alongside it. However, if you update something on the map, it automatically updates it in your notes, so everything makes sense, which is perfect for a chaotic human like me. So otherwise, we will head around the table and say hello to everyone. And we're in a slightly different order today. So we'll hop round and first of all say hello to the lovely Nazgul. Oh, hi.
Hey, I'm Nassim. I'm Nazgul online, and today I'm playing the Hound, Odessa Ward.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we're going to hop around to Lucha Libres. Oh, hi.
Hello, my name is Simon. You can find me on Twitter at Lucha Libris, and I am playing Spurs, the Cutter.
Fabulous. Thank you. And then we're going to hop around and say hello to Tiffany. Oh, hi.
Hi, my name is Tiffany. I'm playing Blue, our slide.
Fabulous. And last but certainly not least, Evil Clever Dog. Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm Izza, and you can find me at Evil Clever Dog on Instagram and Twitter, and I will be playing Rajani the Whisper.
Awesome. So, last week, we left off Blue escaping this warehouse, this place that they were kept by the docks when they were reintroduced for the first time in years to their father. And after a very nimble escape, which involved a carriage and a giant bat and a tuck and roll, Blue managed to escape and found their way towards Thomas's. And Thomas is now taking them to lead to one of his other houses by White Crown. But back at the 13th floor, Odessa, Rajani, and Spurs they venture back after leaving the Crowfields, and there was a knock at the door, one that only Rajani could hear. And once the door was opened, the woman with red hair stood at the door. It's raining outside, and that is where she stands as she says, "I think I've been stolen."
Rajani looks to Spurs, who I believe was standing next to the door, sort of at the ready, and just holds up a hand as if to say, stop. and then just throws the door open and stands aside and kind of gestures for her to come in.
There's a
It's okay.
pause. And she looks down at the floor and looks at you and very slowly steps in. And Spurs and Odessa, at first you don't see anything. You do see wet footprints start to walk across the floor and walk down the steps. And it's almost like your eyes adjust as you see, not as clearly as Rajani, but definitely a figure. One that you would have sworn was Amelia Crowfield. But not dressed as well, hair not as neat, hair is down. And she looks very pale, almost sad. As she steps in, she looks around all of you before heading over to one of the tables and just taking a seat and sits very quietly. The best way to describe it is that she looks almost like she's in shock.
I will shut the door. And then
Yeah, she can't shut the doors.
Yeah, she can't shut the door. Look between Spurs and Odessa, and I guess sort of recognizing that they can also see her, say, "This is the spirit, I suppose, that I've been seeing."
Oh,
And she wants my help, I think. What should we call you? I'll ask the spirit.
And she slowly turns her head to look at you. She's very soft, very blue eyes. I don't know. I don't know who I am.
Okay.
And she sort of tenses her brows. I don't remember. But I'm just very confused, but I seem to keep being drawn back to this same place. And she pauses again. And almost like she takes a breath and swallows. There's a woman down by the docks in a small house. And she cries for me, but I don't know why.
Okay. I'm going to walk over to her, and Rajani will just very tentatively sort of hold out a hand for her to take her hand if she wants to.
And she very slow, like all of her actions seem to be very slow, as if she's processing absolutely everything around her with some sort of element of confusion. But she does reach out this hand, and at first you think it's going to pass through, but then it slowly settles, and it is cold. Very cold.
I think I might be starting to understand what's happened to you. I've seen a woman with your face, your body, but not your mind. I don't think.
My face? And she looks towards Spurs and towards Odessa and around. Have the both of you seen my face as well?
Seen a similar face. The name attached to that face was Amelia.
I don't know that name. I don't think.
I don't think that's your name. No.
And she sort of sits there looking at your hand and her hand, almost as if she's confused by the touch of someone for the first time. You can guess she probably hasn't held a hand for a very long time.
The house in the docks where this woman is, could you direct us there?
I could take you there. And She nods, and again, sort of looking around the room. It is this way. And she drops your hand, and when I say drops, it passes through you for a moment as she stands up again and starts to head back towards the door, and she disappears through it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting her to just leave. We're still waiting on information on Blue, right?
Yeah, we don't know where she is yet.
I can stay behind.
You sure about that?
No, but someone should.
Well, if there's anybody among us that would be able to figure out where Blue's gone and track her down, it's you who I'd trust most.
I'll see if, anyone pops by.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'll sort of
be
collect
careful.
up. Of course. I'll go and gather up sort of all my implements and things from where I was doing my little ritual earlier. Yeah. In terms of loadout, would this be, like, mechanically, would this be a second loadout where I can, like, redo everything, or do I have to keep the same?
Well, because we've just finished a score, our load resets. So if this new thing that we're about to do counts as another score, then you'll pick a new loadout.
Cool. So I'll get rid of these things. Okay. Odessa, are you sure about this?
Yeah, don't worry, I'll be fine. At least I'm awake this time.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that.
And you open the door and you find her waiting there, not looking towards you, like she's looking almost up into the sky. Mm-hmm. And you can hear that static and that crackle again from the lightning towers as she looks up. And I mean, the sky's pretty gloomy half the time in Doskvol, but right now, with the rain and everything combined, you can see people rushing to get out of it. You can see carts speeding up. And she starts to lead you away down to the docks. And then we're going to hop over to Blue. And Blue, you have been dropped off at this house in White Crown. And Thomas has sort of dismissed himself very quickly, saying he needs to get some things back from the other house. He seems quite, not panicked about it, but it seems to be urgent, like he needs to get these things. And he sort of pushes the keys into your hand and very much sort of tells you you can lock everything behind you if you want. And he disappears. And you're stood in this house, and it's sort of 4 or 5 stories up. It's kind of a slender house, like it goes up rather than it being wide. But this is White Crown is an island, and you can hear the gulls, you can hear the sea sort of all around you, and it is full of grand estates. You know this is where nobility is, and you also know this is where the Doskvol Academy is. It's one of the finest institutions of the Empire. You can also see from one of the windows the Northhook Lighthouse, which is one of the oldest structures in Doskvol, and you can see it has been converted, so it's almost like the electrical tower, so that it creates that light in the void sea. Basically, it's one of the few lights that it's sort of swirling, and the light itself comes through the shutters of this house as you are left there.
So I'm gonna do 2 things right off the bat when I'm here. The first one is I'm going to send another note with like any urchin I can grab who's passing by outside to my mother, who still lives in Barrowcleft, to tell her that Dad's out of prison. I don't think he has reason to go after you, but he's found some new proclivities and is dangerous. And I'm going to give her this address. Just impose on Thomas's hospitality very rudely. I'm going to give her this address and invite her to come here so that she can be safer. Then, speaking of rudely imposing on hospitality, I am going to desperately search for a liquor cabinet to indulge in a drink after this very stressful day and hopefully disperse some of the stress. Can I find anything to drink?
Absolutely. You can indulge in your vice, and there is a wide variety of things here. You sort of feel like this is a house maybe Thomas's family had to entertain. This isn't, it doesn't look set up in a homey way. It almost feels very fake is the best way to put it. Like, it looks like it's there for parties. It's very elaborate, but there's no real home comforts here or anything like this. And it's very different from his house in Brightstone that you just came from. They're very, very white walls. The whole of the bottom floor is, it's almost like a social gathering room. Everything is tiled floors, huge big rugs, large sort of leather sofas, and lots of paintings on the wall. You can definitely see an oil painting of two parents, very smartly dressed, very sort of prim and proper, and each of them have a hand on the shoulder of a small boy, which you can guess is Thomas in this place. Would you stay on this floor, or would you?
I'm gonna be, as I'm drinking, I'm gonna wander and be nosy and see what I can find. I think in particular, so I didn't manage to dispel much stress, probably because instead of partying in a crowded bar, I am drinking alone in what appears to be a house staged by a realtor. But I want to see if I can find anything that his parents might have left behind, because I'm very curious if his parents were sort of similarly inclined as Thomas, and if they were like on the straight and narrow, or if they also have been selling demon blood.
Okay, could you roll me an attune and a survey, please?
Yes.
Both are controlled and standard. Okay.
Yes. Oh.
Okay. So on the attune, the first thing you can tell is that there are so many wards on this house. Like, you almost felt it as soon as you walked in the front door. You can recognize wards. Odessa in particular, you know hers, and these are very, very similar. These wards, however, are old. Not any less effective, but they are old. And you feel they've been put in place for a very long time. And as you sort of wind your way up these different floors of the house, you do find, again, it kind of feels kind of static. You find a couple of bedrooms untouched. There's barely any personal belongings in here. There are a lot of paintings. If anything, you think that there seems to be wealth here, but almost stored in things that wouldn't necessarily sell well unless you knew the right person. You feel that the wealth here is probably where Thomas stores a lot of it, so he doesn't have it in his main house. You almost feel like you're walking into a giant safe at this. And the wards that are up, I would say on that, you can tell they were put there by a female. But otherwise, you sort of wander around and you can find a gramophone. You can find sort of a large gramophone. Again, doesn't look like it's been used in years, but it's there. And when you get to the fourth floor, as you look around, it's almost like the whole floor is almost like a study. You've got a very, very large desk. There's books all over the walls, like it's literally lining them. And the huge windows with these very heavy sort of velvet curtains that are drawn back. From this angle, you can see the Master Warden's estate, which is this huge fortified, like kind of like a manor house, which is where the commander of the Spirit Wardens and all of their training takes place. Are
there curtains open? Like, can I see anything going on?
You can't see anything particularly going on. You can see the courtyard at a distance. It's kind of awkward from the angle that you are at, but you can see Spirit Wardens, some of them outside training. You can't really see inside because they keep matters very private. They're very open, like, and talkative on the streets, but when it comes to the estate, they're very, very quiet. It's said that there is a rumor you probably would know, is that it's one of those rumors where, you know, you heard it from the kids playing in the streets. You heard it from the odd person here and there who probably don't like Spirit Wardens, so you're not sure if it's true or not. That not all the spirits they get hold of, they destroy.
Who doesn't have a secret agenda in this goddamn city? I'm just going to really quickly peruse the books in the study to see if there's any, like, I don't know, like ledgers or books on like the legal system, because now I'm also looking for things that might mention Lady Drake or like magistrates.
You look around, and a lot of these seem like
You can make a study roll too if you want.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could you make me a study roll rather than survey?
Just to try and get a better.
Okay. So you look around, and most of these are things like fancy looking books, like encyclopedias, histories of Doskvol, and all of these sorts of things. There don't seem to be any memoirs or personal affections. Again, it feels very stale in here. I will say that you notice some of the books aren't books. They're empty.
Secret drawer.
Some of them are empty, as you can sort of pull some of them out. They look like maybe they contained something once. And one of these books you try to pull out, it kind of feels stuck. It's very, very awkward. It's and as you pull it, the full section of bookcase slides open. Not a lot. It looks like it just sort of like pops out enough for you to actually see that there is something behind this bookcase.
Can I try and push the bookcase?
Okay. You can sort of hook your hands around and pull this bookcase out, and there is a bit of you can feel a temperature drop here, but it's just a very dark space behind this. It's not lit at all.
I'm going to grab a lantern from elsewhere in the room and bring it into the secret library room. Never found one of these in real life. That's my dream.
Okay. So we are then going to hop back to Rajani and Spurs. And Spurs, you and Rajani are headed down to the docks. Rajani, you know this area very well. This is where you live. And this spirit is walking you in a direction you know very well. In fact, you know it's literally 3 doors down from your boat. It's right on the docks. And in this house you walk past every day. Okay. You know that it is you know, a very elderly woman lives there, and you also know that she is completely blind. And she makes nets. She stitches sails and fabrics. You also know that she, at one point, was very good at clothing. You know, she used to do things like that and has now moved over to this. She does everything herself, everything by feel. You just have this. Sometimes, like, you can see her leave her house every now and then. She doesn't tend to go far and then goes back. Sometimes you see people come in and drop things off. But this spirit stops just outside and looks up. Here.
Is this the place? Yeah?
Here.
Okay. I've seen the woman who lives here around. Do I know her name or not? The woman.
You may not have known her name. Lots of people just sort of it sounds really lots of people just call her the old lady because she doesn't tend to talk to a lot of people. She just doesn't. It's more that she keeps. You get the feeling she likes keeping much to herself. It's not necessarily because it's by, anything else. She seems to enjoy it.
Okay. I guess I will go up and knock on the door.
You knock on this door, and straight away from the window above, you hear the "I'm coming! I just give me a second. Hang on!" And you can hear lots of things be just dropped wherever they are, and you can hear it's almost a shell of a house, so there's not a lot in here, but you can hear her come down the steps, and as she does, you hear the door sort of be fumbled for a little bit, and it open, and this elderly woman stands there, eyes sort of a milky white, and she just stares in your direction. You can see she sort of looks around for a moment. There's a little bit of a smile on her face. There's wrinkles that were definitely laughter lines at one point, and she has this salt and pepper hair that is tied into a bit of a knot more than anything. She's in kind of the standard sort of similar clothes that you see on most people around here. They're a bit sort of mucky and dusty from walking the streets. You can see around the hems where if she has walked, it's picked up a lot of the dirt and the grime. And she's got a long needle in one hand with some thread still attached to it. It's for net, so you can see it's a very thick thread. It's not anything small. And she pauses and looks around. Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Oh, are you here about the nets? Come in. And she starts turning around and heads in.
I will glance at Spurs and then follow her and sort of usher for him and our spirit friend to come in.
He's giving everyone sort of a raised eyebrow and a weird look. Sort of, I think he's the last to go in, just sort of looking around, looking to see if other people are watching us go in, and then follows.
Okay. You can't see anyone. No one seems to be around this place. The other thing you know is about the docks. There's a lot of people who don't tend to hang around here for too long. But this little old lady sort of leads you in, and you hear her sort of trudging up the stairs. She says, "Please close the door. Don't worry about your shoes. You can leave those on. It's fine." And she sort of guides herself up the stairs.
Thank you for letting us in. My name's Rajani. I live right near you, actually, in one of the houseboats.
Oh, you're from the boats. Are they delightful things?
Yeah.
I used to live in one of those ones, but I don't really. Yes, seasick. You see, slight wave throws me right off.
Yeah, bit of an issue.
Just a bit. Mind the cat. And as you do, you see this cat sort of dart across the thing in front of you. She steps straight over it without this cat making a sound as it sleeps on the third step from the second floor. And as you hit the second floor, Spurs and Rajani, you see this is a very simple layout. You can see this is probably almost like the kitchen kind of area. You've got a table, you have 2 chairs, you have a hearth, and that's about it.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask, can I look around and see if there's any possessions that might indicate like a daughter or a relative of some kind? Like, are there any pictures or paintings? But I'm guessing it's just too bare for that.
It's very bare. It's almost like everything's been gotten rid of.
Right.
Rather than anything else. But there is a hearth going. You can see a cast iron kettle over the hearth. She's like, can I get any of you a drink or something? Anything?
Oh, I don't want to bother you with that. That's fine.
It's not a bother. I haven't made tea for more than one person for quite a while. So,
well, if you want to, Spurs, do you want?
Oh, who else is here with you?
Oh, I wouldn't turn down any hospitality.
Tea? I'll make tea. And she sort of starts to move. Like you can see a cupboard, which she sort of feels along at first and then crouches down and pulls out these cups, a very mixed match of cups and saucers, and places them on the table before taking a rag and heading over as the kettle whistles and pulls it off and heads over. And she sort of feels around, does start to pour perfectly into all of these cups. She's like, help yourself. I'm afraid I only have 2 chairs.
That's fine. We can stand. It's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, well, I'm going to sit down. And she sort of and she sits herself down at this table and sort of cradles this cup of tea in her hand. And you see the cat jump onto the windowsill, sort of watching you both as you do. And she's the nets aren't quite done. I didn't expect you for another day or so.
Oh, we're not actually here about the nets. Sorry if I misled you. I was just curious, since I live in the local area and I've seen you around. Do you have anyone here who helps take care of you at all?
No, I am a very individual.
I don't quite know how to say this, but has anyone else ever lived here with you before?
Yes. I had a daughter. Sadly, no longer. She sort of pauses for a moment. Present.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm sure she'll turn up any day now.
Oh, so she's away?
Well, she went away for a little bit. I assume she did. It must have been a bit of a rush. Didn't let me know or anything. But she's a good girl. She can look after herself, so she'll be back at some point.
How long ago was this?
Oh gosh, I don't count the days. And she sort of like moves over and takes a sip of that tea. It has got to be a couple of years now. But you know what young people are like. They like to travel, right?
Yes. Well, I'm the son.
Probably found a nice young gentleman and settled down and forgot to tell me. But they'll be back soon.
I'm sure they will. What's her name? Out of curiosity.
Oh, that's my Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
My eyes sometimes play tricks on me as she looks at you with these very large but very milky white eyes. I often think I see her out of the corner of my eye, but I daren't look up because, it might disappear. It's just nice to sort of feel like maybe she's here. And, yes. And she sort of smiles, and you can see her sort of look towards a corner briefly and look back down again to where this spirit is standing as she's watching her mother.
What does the spirit look like right now? Like, what's her expression? Or
it's more of confusion than anything else. Almost as if she's trying to recognize someone. And at the name Elizabeth, you do see head turn, not necessarily a realization, but a recognition. Like recognizing part of the name, almost as if it rings a bell, like deja vu.
Okay. Your daughter Elizabeth, did she work with you? Did she make nets and clothes and things as well?
Not nets. I've only started doing nets since not too long ago, just after she left. I used to make clothes and dresses and things like that, you see. I was very good at it as well, and she was learning, but it was something we did together, you see. So it kind of feels wrong to do it without her. She was very good at the patterns and the designing. I was the main sort of structure, but she got the real embroidery down and everything like that. You know what I mean? I mean, why did you come for one of those as well?
Oh, no, not necessarily. I've just seen you around and I was wondering if there was anything I could do to help you since I live in the same neighborhood.
She reaches out this very sort of like frail, wrinkled hand and holds yours. You're very, very kind. I am very good, but if you ever want to come around for a cup of tea, I can do that.
Of course, love to.
And your gentleman friend who is also here. You're very, very is the word stark? You stand very tall and upright.
I suppose. I have a tendency to take up space sometimes where it's not needed.
I have a lot of space in my house, so if you want, you can stand here. Absolutely, no problem.
Oh, perhaps I misunderstood. Well, this is good tea.
I'm glad you like it. It's one of my. I buy it from the that rather charming little shop down the way. But and she sort of looks in your direction and tilts her head. Like, you have seen some great tragedies.
Oh. It's a bit forward, isn't it?
Oh, I'm very forward. I know. I'm sorry. When you get on your own, it's you sort of forget your manners. I do apologize.
Oh, it's not a problem. It's just unusual. Most people don't say that.
Oh,
it's a bit refreshing.
And she sort of like pauses and starts to pour another cup of tea. Say, well, you know, when you, I believe I'm very, very sensitive to the world around me, which as you should, and you, particularly you, Rajani, you'll know that you, in fact, roll me in a tune.
I was about to ask.
How much? Roll in a tune.
Is this controlled then? Or?
Yes, this is controlled. Standard.
Oh, real bad.
Yeah, it hasn't come through for me yet. What is it?
It's a 2 and a 1.
Okay. So all you can get from this at the moment is that you get the feeling that perhaps it's been developed since maybe she lost her sight. You have the feeling that she wasn't always blind. That she has developed some other sense, almost like similar to you, but she has no idea. You realize when she says she sees Elizabeth like a memory, she's seeing her.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
She's not realizing it. She's picking up on things like emotions and standards. There's a reason she can feel something from Spurs but doesn't pick up on any of it. Okay. There's a reason she thinks Elizabeth is still alive.
Yeah.
Where I come from in Severos.
Oh, a Severos man! And she sort of like pushes the pot towards you. Sorry, go on.
Oh, yes, pours a second cup. I was just going to say that sometimes there's folk that have a good sense of things about the world. It's a very admirable trait. I'm sure as an Akarosi, or perhaps not all bought into that sort of thing, but well, it's a gift.
Well,
Yes.
it's just a good sense for the world around me.
It's the right thing.
I'm sure your daughter had the same gift.
Oh, she does.
She
I'm
learned
sure
well
she
from
does.
you.
I'm sure she does. And she sort of smiles at both of you.
Well, if we see her around, we'll tell her to come and pay you a visit.
I would like that, but I'm sure she'll be back
I'm sure.
soon, because we worked very, very well together, and she was always so very kind to her good mother. So she'll be back soon, I anticipate.
I'm sure she's just getting a change of scenery, perhaps looking for a fitting gift to bring back or something.
Well, that's what you young people do, isn't it? You go off gallivanting to see the world, and just about afterwards you come back and pay attention to your dear old mother. But yes, I do hope. I didn't think about a gift, but that could be quite nice. As she sort of pauses, you see, my favorite, my favorite thing is lavender. So I'm hoping that maybe she can find something, bring something like that back. I know it's incredibly rare, but there's a lovely little perfume shop along the way, I'm told, but far too expensive for me. I'm just a net weaver.
Oh, I wouldn't know anything about perfumes.
Oh gosh, no, me neither. If I like the smell of it, I buy it. That's about it.
I'm the same way with jackets, shirts. If it fits, I get it in 10 different colors and call it a day.
A sensible thing. My Elizabeth would always add all the fancy bits to it, but if it fits, it hasn't got a hole in it, and it keeps you warm and dry, then it's a perfectly good item of clothing.
What was your name? Sorry, we didn't ask. That's so rude.
Oh, no. I'm Amy. Hello.
Amy.
And she sort of smiles at you.
Well, I'll certainly come back for another cup of tea sometime. I don't know if Spurs would like to join me as well, but...
Oh, certainly.
But yeah,
no, good.
Can't find a good cup of tea like this anywhere else.
I am very good at tea. She sort of nods. Not so good at my food, but I can definitely try and make something.
That sounds great. Well, maybe we can bring something for you so that you're not doing all the work next time.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Well, I guess we should probably leave you to your nets, and I'm sure your customers will be very satisfied with them when they arrive.
Oh, yes. Well, I've got a day, so I'm afraid I am going to, yes. Not to be rude, but I do need to get on.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you for your time.
No problem. And she sort of immediately goes back to weaving this net. She goes, Archer, show them out. And this cat sort of jumps off of the windowsill and starts trotting down the stairs towards the front door.
Follow the cat.
And you can open the door to the rain that's there.
Is there anything else in the house that stands out at all as we're walking back our own way, or?
There is one thing, and it's more after the conversation you notice it. There is a very well embroidered coat.
Mm-hmm.
And from looking at Amy, you feel like maybe she wasn't in so much to the embroidery rather than the efficiency like Spurs. So you could probably guess that this was once Elizabeth's.
Okay.
I think as we step out and close the door, they take 3 steps, and then Spurs just looks back over his shoulder and goes, "That woman's a witch."
Yes, she clearly has some kind of ability. I don't think she knows it herself, though.
Yeah, whether or not she's aware of it, yeah. She definitely sees spirits some way.
Hmm.
You don't... Rajani, I feel like you're the only person I can say this to, and you won't think that I'm ready to be shipped off somewhere in a quiet place by myself. But
Well, you know me, I'm a weirdo, so go for it.
you don't think that's her, just older? You know, like through time and magic.
What?
I
You
just...
mean
Amy, I've heard stories, folk tales. They say, you know, people fall out of time. They come back aged more than they were when they came through, and maybe she's herself, her own daughter, as it were, a second one. I don't know. Or she's just a old lady with a soft spot for her daughter, and her daughter was taken away too soon by some kind of malice. I don't know. And that's what's killing me, is not knowing how to deal with things. Where I come from, the work that I do, the enemy is there. It's right in front of you, and you hunt it down and you put a stake in it, and that's it. And this thing keeps coming after us and leaving us with more questions anytime we try and get anywhere near an answer.
Yes, I can definitely sympathize. But I definitely feel like I know more now than I did before. I don't know about people being taken out of time, but definitely maybe, I mean, Odessa found a death certificate for the sister, right? For Amelia.
Right.
Maybe the, sorry, I've forgotten their family name. Maybe the Crowfields, maybe Carlisle was so bereaved, he tried to find a way to sustain her essence in another body. Maybe this poor girl was just a random victim. Maybe they chose her for a specific reason. I don't know. But I want to try and find a way to put whatever's happened right, if we can.
Oh, we'll absolutely be doing that.
Is the spirit still hanging around with us, Elizabeth?
She seems to be stood outside the house. If you've stepped away from the house, she's staying by the house, like she's just looking in through the window.
Elizabeth? I'll call out to her.
And at that, she sort of pauses and turns and looks. Yes, I think.
I think that's your name.
I think it is too.
We think we might be able to try and help you. I don't know if it's going to work, and I'm sorry I can't make any promises, but I want to try and find out if there's a way to give you your life back, if I can, or at least bring you some peace.
And she looks down. I think that was my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she frowns. And sort of, for a moment, you can see the cat at the window sort of like pawing at her as she reaches out, and she's like, I think this is my cat. As she sort of reaches out and touches like the paw at the window, sort of half confused. But your name wasn't Archer. As she looks towards this cat.
What's their name?
She's... I don't know, but it wasn't Archer. And she looks back at you and says, this is my cat. And frowns. It's probably nothing.
Does the name Carlisle Crowfield or Amelia Crowfield mean anything to you?
She pauses. Amelia does.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks back in the house. Towards her mother. That's her full name.
Just slowly rolling a cigarette.
God damn it! I should have asked.
Taking a long drag on that.
And she pauses and looks towards you. Is like, I'm going to go now, but do you mind if I come back?
You can come and find me whenever you want. Okay?
Okay. I just need a moment to think as she looks towards the sort of up towards the window where Amy opens the window to let some fresh air in. And you can hear her humming as she returns back to whatever she was doing.
Spurs takes a long drag on that cigarette, looks back at the house, looks at Rajani, and reaches into his jacket. He says, "Weirdos, huh?" And he takes out a flask and he offers a shot to Rajani.
Yeah, just knock it back. She drinks more than one shot.
Oh yeah.
From somewhere far away, you hear the noises of approval.
You could just feel your ears burning. And we'll hop back up over to Odessa. And Odessa, what would you be doing whilst you're waiting for them to come back?
Polishing my guns and burglary tools.
Yep. You can lay them all out on the table as you're going through and cleaning absolutely
Tuesday.
everything. It's just a regular Tuesday. And you hear a little knock at the door. And it doesn't sound like a heavy thud. It just sounds like a little bit of a knock.
I will peek through our little whatever secret visor thing.
You sort of look at and then you look down. And you see this little kid holding up a letter. Just sort of that, message, miss.
Okay, 1 second. I undeadbolt everything, open it up, reach out for the letter.
Yeah, you see this little boy. He's got a flat cap on and what looks like maybe was a smart jacket at one point. He's like, there you go, miss. And tears off in the opposite direction.
I inspect the letter.
It's from Blue.
Ah.
And you can see the where Blue has given you her location at White Crown.
Okay. Well, I guess I gotta relay the message when everyone else comes back. I'll give them another, I don't know. How long have they been gone so far?
They've probably been gone for about an hour.
I'll give them another, 30 to an hour, see if they come back. And if not, then I'll probably just go to Blue myself.
Okay. So, Rajani and Spurs, where would you go straight back, or is there elsewhere that you would go?
Since we're nearby her houseboat, I think Rajani will go, pick up some things, maybe some extra arcane implements and things like that she's got there before we do anything else.
Yeah, you do see sort of slapped onto your boat very undiscreetly this message in Blue's handwriting. You can recognize it straight away. You can see what looks like a grubby handprint on it as well. It's got to been the ink has been smeared a little bit in the rain, but when opening it, you get the same message.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, here, Spurs, read this. I need to get some things. Blue's fine. Blue's safe.
What?
She left me a letter.
That's awfully convenient.
Really is.
Oh, Blue, what are you doing?
I don't know what she's gotten herself into, but we should go find her. But one sec, I just need to get some things. And she like clambers into this houseboat, and as she goes down, you'll just hear like clang, 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 things falling around as she like
Just
goes
like
and finds these other things.
A wide-angle shot of like Spurs standing on the dock with the cigarette,
The
like
cigarette, I was gonna say.
slowly like watching it burn down, and like you don't see anything, you just hear the clanging and like a damn probably under your breath at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how I imagine it.
Yeah, she's got a lot of random crap in that houseboat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you even watch like you can hear something fall, and you watch the boat just dip slightly
Buoy
in
a
the
little
water.
bit,
Yeah. As you do.
Yeah, and eventually she emerges, like stuffing some things in her bag, and just kind of like, okay, well, what do we do? Do we go straight to Blue, or do we go and find Odessa?
We should probably get up to speed with Blue.
Okay. Because the place where Blue is kind of nearby, right? Anyway, so where we are.
The White Crown. Yeah.
Okay.
You're closer than going back to the 13th floor. Okay. So yeah, this is definitely walking distance. So you can head off in that direction.
Okay.
And Odessa, you wait. And you wait and you wait and you wait. And they don't seem to come at all.
Well, I've nothing left to clean, so let's go. Let's go after all my friends.
We've wiped down every glass in the bar.
I was about
twice.
to say everything looks spick and span right now in the 13th floor.
It has literally never been this clean since we bought the place.
But yeah, you can gather whatever you want and head off.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also gonna, on my way, whistle for Draco and just see how he's doing. It's been a minute.
Yeah, he sort of swoops down. You hear a woman scream as she takes as Draco takes her hat off by accident with his feet that sort of dangle below as he sort of comes crashing onto your shoulder. And that sort of happy sort of screech, and as you feel that breeze as the wings sort of beat as he sort of folds them in, and looks quite content. He's heavy, like you probably tip a little bit as he lands. He just seems quite happy to be here, to be honest. He seems to start squawking about something as if he's trying to tell you stuff, but
I have Mind Link. That's our special.
Yes. Yes, you do. So then, if anything, you don't understand what he's saying, but you get flashes from his memory of almost like that sky, sort of that bird's eye view flying over Doskvol and hearing a ring out of a whistle. And you see a carriage charging, and you watch almost through Draco's eyes as he hurtles down and crashes through this carriage window where you see Blue. And you see two other guards sat either side of her, an older man who does not look happy about it, but you see the chaos sort of ensue as Draco tries to rip the door off of this carriage, and you watch Blue tumble out before he screeches and heads off again.
Aw, you tried to help Mummy's friends. What a boy.
And he sort of like
lots of chin scratchies, yeah.
I mean, he's very happy about that. You see his ears sort of flick from side to side as you do it.
All right, you're gonna get special treats tonight when I'm done with work.
And there's that sort of weird squeak, which is very high-pitched, considering how big this bat is. as he does. Are you taking Draco with you?
Yeah, I'll actually leave it up to him. I'll be like, I'm gonna go meet up with my friends, see if everyone's okay. If you want to hang out, I miss you. we haven't done our usual things together in a while, and you've been a really good boy. So you can go off and hunt or stick around.
And you feel those claws sort of dig in, not to hurt, but like to just cling on a little bit. And he stays sat on your shoulder. It has been raining. The rain is easing up. People take a wide berth from you for two reasons. One, he does not look friendly to anyone other than you. And two, he, like a cormorant, has spread his wings out to dry as you're walking along. So this is quite a wide sort of stretch as you're walking. And you can feel him shake them every now and then. And as he sort of holds them out to dry.
We should walk together more often. I like this wide berth of distance from everyone else. Keep the fuck away from me, everyone.
And there's that sort of like hiss as someone comes a little bit too close, and the snap of teeth. He doesn't actually reach to bite anyone, but it is the snap at people as they, what he considers comes too close to you. So
yeah,
you can keep. I
almost encourage people to try and come close. I'm like, oh, fine, he's friendly. Don't you worry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You get that hiss of the sort of every time someone just gets that tiny bit too close. And like, because he's got his little arm, like his little claws on the ends of his wings, and you can see them sort of curl up as people come a little bit too close. And you can make your way. You start to make your way across the bridge in the direction of White Crown. And hopping over to Blue. Thank you for chat for picking for Blue for that one.
Oh no, what's gonna happen?
Blue, you take that lantern and you step into this dark room. And as you do, you see more paintings for a start. You're going by the glow of the light. You can't see the whole room with this lantern, but it's almost like you've got a tiny bit of a corridor that goes through the bookcase, and it opens up into this fairly large room. And there are lots and lots of paintings, not on the wall, but like stored. They're in racks. And you see a huge table, and there seems to be lots and lots of different, almost bizarre objects on these. They look to be worth a lot of money. There isn't any like jewelry kind of here. It's almost like small statues, small ornaments. You can see a very ornate mirror at the back of the room. But you can also see a door handle on the frame of it. As you sort of glance over, you can just about see your reflection in it as the light hits. And the desk in this room, it has drawers. It's got there are no windows or anything. You feel like you're in like almost like you're in a box. And there also don't seem to be any lights in here. Like your lantern is your light. There doesn't seem to be anything else. At first it looks like storage, but then you can see what looks to be like an ashtray where someone would have come and sat in here. Someone would have done some things in here. It looks almost more lived in than the whole house itself.
So I'm like muttering to myself as I go, like, Thomas, didn't think you'd be so classy as to store all your wealth in paintings. And I want to first just look at the paintings a little bit more closely. Do they seem like family portraits, or are they like pieces of art that a collector might have?
You sort of look through them, and there are more family portraits. In fact, you find a whole series of what looks like Thomas growing up. You can watch him have the portrait almost, not every year he grows up, but you can see the parents get older, and then you do finally see his first portrait on his own. and there don't seem to be any more after that. Almost like one on his own, and then he stopped.
This is very
And
sad.
you also see you do see some collectibles. You see some of almost like I say scenic sort of paintings of the docks, paintings of White Crown. They're kind of very standard. You recognize that names of artists there, it's more the name is worth a lot of money more than anything else. And you do find just all of these paintings you can tell they're here for wealth more than anything else. And you can also see that the ones of Thomas and his family, they're a lot more faded than the others. You feel that they were on display and he's put them away.
Can I just touch the ashtray as well? It's not warm still, right?
No, this is almost, it's a very heavy ashtray. It's made of very heavy glass, but it's got that sort of like that warping sort of pattern all over it. There is no ash in it. You can see a box of cigars next to it, but
are they cigars I've ever seen Thomas smoke, or have I ever seen Thomas smoke cigars, period?
You've never seen Thomas smoke cigars.
Oh, let's a little bit creepier. I'm trying to think if I would wait for other people to join me, or if I would just press on. And there's nothing weird about my reflection in the mirror.
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna try the doorknob. Does it turn?
Okay. You can turn, and it doesn't seem to open. Like you can pull on it. You can feel. You can see a keyhole, but there's also wards down this. But wards seem to be on the glass. So as you look at yourself in the mirror, your reflection does distort a little bit, but nothing out of the ordinary. You will have seen some mirrors like this before. It's almost like it runs a check as to what or who is coming in.
I am going to pick up the paint very carefully so as to not damage it. The painting of Thomas alone, and like hold it in front of the mirror while trying the doorknob.
Nothing happens.
I turn around to look at the painting. Apparently not a very good likeness, and I'll put it back. And then can I search the room for the key?
Yeah, roll
survey?
Yeah, I was gonna say roll a roll a survey for me. Okay. And controlled and everything. Yeah. 3. You root through a lot of the drawers in the desk, and you find a lot of papers, you find a lot of documents in here, you find birth certificates, death certificates, you find just lots and lots of, it's more just random paper than anything else. It looks like some old letters and things like that. But
none of the death certificates are like for Thomas.
No, none of them are for Thomas. Thomas is alive and well. But you do find a very heavy key, and this looks old. This looks like it's about this big. It's very heavy. It's very sort of chunky, and you can see what looks like a family crest on the sort of the curve at the top of where it would normally loop onto something.
I'm gonna knock on the mirror, and if I don't hear any sounds in response, I'll try the key.
You knock on the mirror
very gently,
and what you do notice, and it could be because of the wards, because of what this is, you knock and there's a 3-second delay of your reflection knocking back.
Cool. I'm gonna wait downstairs for my friends for a second. I'm gonna give it like 15 minutes and see if they get here.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm gonna like try and close up and everything behind me so it doesn't look like I've been snooping in case Thomas gets here before my friends do.
Yeah, you can head back downstairs. And Rajani and Spurs, you'll probably arrive first. You stand outside this house, and it looks It looks nice, but it's kind of plain for White Crown. It's on the outside, at least it's 4 or 5 stories up, and it's got lots of big shutters on the windows and things like that. And soon after, you will hear not a commotion, but more people sort of like, hey, like, and stuff like that, as Odessa comes up behind you with Draco's wings spread wide, like he is clearing the way as Odessa catches up towards you.
Oh, well, what do you know? Guess you got
Fancy
the same note.
note. Found a note. Figured we were closer than going back. Sorry. Just wanted to see if she was okay.
I mean, it worked out. I got a similar note, obviously, so...
Good, okay. Get the crew back together.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and wait.
Things, but...
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I'll go ahead and wait till we're all together for you to share what you found over in the docks.
She still looks a little bit like... Ooh. Also, she drank quite a lot of that booze, so...
Same, sister.
And you can hear Draco clicking towards the house, almost like it's almost like he's sensing what's in there. But do you just try and go straight in, or do you knock?
I guess we would knock.
Welcome, raiders. Blue, you hear a knock.
Is there a peephole?
There is not a peephole, but you have got a window which has big heavy curtains that you could probably look through, and primarily the first thing you see is this bat head looking in at the window as you do. A recognizable bat head.
If the bat is here, all is good. No need for the secret knocking sequence that I'm sure we had all established earlier. And I'll open the door.
And you're greeted with each other.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh my God,
You're
guys.
safe. Okay. What happened?
Come in. This is Thomas's other secret house. By the way, he's a terrible kisser. Never thought I would be able to inform you of that fact. And I close and bolt the doors with everything on it.
Draco sort of folds his wings in as he comes in so he can fit through the door frame, but he immediately sort of takes off of Odessa's shoulder and is perching somewhere.
Well, it sounds like you've had even worse of a day than I thought you might have had, so I'm very sorry.
Oh my God. Quick, I went to the bathroom at the Crowfield. Quick question. Their bathroom is inside their home, correct? I didn't exit.
No.
They're outhouse.
Outhouse? No.
Well, I don't know. I left to go to go powder my nose, so to speak, in the Crowfield, as you guys remember. And I think someone knocked me out inside their home, because the next thing I remember, I'm coming to, I think, somewhere in the dock ward, somewhere dingy and unused, and I'm threatened with very vague harm and offered a very expensive and specific promise of complete restoration of my family fortune in exchange for giving up the location of our stockpile.
Okay.
Right. So I tell them that I don't know where it is, which, in fact, I don't know where it is. And I think we should stick to that policy and not tell anyone where it is other than Odessa. And then they agree to let me come and find you guys as long as I'm escorted by 2 guards. But I think they might have been either dead or somehow changed. They just had that kind of, I don't know, altered look about them. They were sort of cold. And the third guy was my fucking dad, who, don't have to go into it, but he says that he's taken up taxidermy. And I don't think he means foxes.
Okay.
Yeah, but Well, Odessa, I've heard you whistle for Draco so many times. I just imitated and it worked. And I have a lot more affection for Draco now because he fucking came and saved my hide.
I'm really glad he was able to help you, and very smart thinking.
We should all practice that whistle because he was a godsend. Ran out of the carriage, and I mean, I can't explain this because I've never even really liked the fellow, but I was just sprinting and I, remember where Thomas lived. And I figured that, I don't know, I'm still kind of worried that we're being followed if someone's after our supply. But he's not officially associated with us. So I thought he would be a safer person to go to. Because
seems wise.
Yeah. So he swears that this is a very secret property. People don't know he owns it. I think he might be like a serial killer or something. But he has a secret room upstairs with a mirror that when you knock on it, it knocks back. Very creepy. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's me. I need another drink.
Do you need
What's up with you guys?
Do you need a hug or something? Also, where did kissing Thomas factor into all of this? I've got to know.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Never say it.
We passed my father on the bridge, and I just thought it would be a good way to hide my face. He acted like I was a banshee sucking his soul out of his mouth, so I need to reassure you it was not a warm experience. But he has let us use his home, so +1, -1, we're still neutral on Thomas.
Okay, that's you've had quite a day.
But are you guys all right? Why didn't the Crowfields kidnap any of you? Or their associates? I don't know. I don't know if these were unrelated incidents.
A lot has happened since we last saw you. I'm not really sure where to begin. I guess we should probably just go chronologically.
Question,
Well,
are you having this conversation? Are you going in to sit down, or are you all gathered in the hallway?
I'm going to be trying to lead you guys up to the study on the 4th floor. So we'll
Okay.
be like walking.
Yeah, you
through
can
the hall.
you can walk and talk, absolutely.
Walk and talk, yeah. Okay, well, after you excused yourself, I did one of my little tricks and realized that Carlisle and his entire staff were not breathing, weren't not alive in some way, some manner.
Carlisle too.
Yeah.
What if everybody's dead? What if we're the only alive people?
Everybody's
guys?
dead except for us. That's the twist.
And they didn't try anything during the dinner?
Not really, but me and Spurs went and had a look around his study, and we found a lot of things in there. Not only did he have a vial of our stock that seems to have been tainted, I'll get to that, but we found a painting of him and his sister in which his sister is a completely different person. And then behind that was a tunnel which Spurs went through. So Spurs, if you want to...
What?
A lot has happened.
Yeah,
Why
they're
are we the
smuggling,
only people who have a house without a secret passage? Okay, sorry, continue.
I really want
Well, because we're trying to be quiet about it. Some of us have a level of professionalism in this industry. Yeah, no, it's the classic hidden tunnel behind a painting situation. They're smuggling our stock out through that, presumably. Goes out to somewhere in the docks. They've got a pulley system, carry heavy crates. One assumes that they load it up there through the basement, push it all the way down the tunnel, and then haul it up, and then redistribute it somewhere. They've got a couple of dock hands in on the take. They've got a couple of kids working for them as well. That's not particularly unusual, but what is that they all seem to be on something, whether that's a new substance of some kind, or if there's a little bit of possession at work. It's definitely a couple people there are not themselves. I'd be a little concerned about that. Carlisle's definitely made me in the process, though. didn't have time to cover my tracks, so he's aware that we know. But hopefully we put the fear of the higher powers in him.
Did you hit? How did you threaten him?
He and I came to an understanding.
I love your euphemisms, Spurs. God forbid you and I ever come to an understanding. Okay, so Carlisle looks like Carlisle in the painting, but is not breathing, so he is dead. The sister has switched bodies and is breathing? Does she breathe?
Did we get a read on Amelia with that? Was it the same?
I
can't
don't
remember.
think you did a read because she wasn't in the
'Cause she
room at the
wasn't in the
time.
room. She wasn't
But-
there when that.
But we did find, I found her death certificate, her birth and death certificate, along with all the vials that have been stolen from us.
Yeah.
And I managed to take one of those vials out for Rajani to do some tests, given that they are tainted with something.
And
And
I think he also didn't he have files? He had files on Thomas in his drawer as well.
Oh gosh. Okay, so it's all connected. And what are the vials tainted with? Do we know yet?
a symbiote.
A
Yeah, we haven't had time to test the specifics of that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but there is something in it that seems alive and aware in some way, in that it responded to me, and then when I held it up towards Spurs and Odessa, it responded to them as well. So it's not just
creepy
arcane thing, it's a general, I don't know, they're growing something in it, or they're, I don't know. And then
there's more.
And then I said there was a spirit that seemed to be following me.
Sure.
That looked like Amelia. She turned up at the 13th floor. The spirit one, not the physical Amelia.
Sure, yeah.
And,
so great that all these ghosts and evil people have our address. Amazing.
Well, this spirit seems to have been following me or us for quite some time, and she needs help. What I've managed to find out is that, we don't really know the specifics because she doesn't seem to remember a lot, but it seems that her real name is Elizabeth, and she's the daughter of an old woman who lives actually quite near me, ironically, in the docks.
Weird coincidence.
Yeah, and this woman seems convinced that her daughter went missing. She's blind, but has clearly got some kind of attuned senses to the arcane. And so her daughter disappeared a couple of years ago, and she told me that her name was Amy, this woman. And then when I mentioned the name Amelia Crowfield and Carlisle Crowfield to Elizabeth, she said, "Oh yes, Amelia Crowfield, that's my mother's full name."
Her last name's Crowfield. Did she smell of roses?
No, but
No,
did
but she's
mention
fond of lilacs.
Was it lavender?
Lavender?
Lavender. Yeah.
And
she
Amelia
mentioned-
Crowfield's perfume smells of lavender.
Exactly.
Okay, so I have a theory. When I was 10, our family chef prepared borscht, and as soon as I had a spoonful, I threw up. And my mother informed me that when I was much younger, way before I even really was forming memories, I apparently had food poisoning, got food poisoning from the same dish. That is to say, I think sometimes your body remembers stuff even though you don't think you remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if they stole Elizabeth's body, that's why Amelia maybe just picked the name Amelia?
But there seems to be another woman who looks completely different with that name. It's written. It was sorry, we didn't explain that. It was written on the painting. There was a plaque that
I
said
see.
Carlisle and Amelia Crowfield.
Oh, that. Damn. Okay, so there's something ghostly going on with the Crowfields and this old lady. Considering the fact that I was kidnapped from the inside of their home, and they have a tunnel that goes to the dock wards, and I was close to the sea, probably at the dock ward. I think we can conclude they're part of the same general good-for-nothing, demon blood stealing crew. Right?
Yeah.
That steals demon blood, taints it. They're probably working with the magistrate who got access to like Thomas's ships and shut off his access to the dock ward to try and take some of his stuff as well.
Well,
that would make sense.
they absolutely know what his shipping patterns are.
Because they
Yeah.
have documents detailing all of it.
Right. So they're able to do all those things, and they must have access to, I think, probably a tremendous amount of money for them to be trying to bribe me with like lost family fortunes. Because, you know, we used to have like a lot of money. It was not like, maybe like it was a lot of money. I mean, we were pretty well to do.
Do you think how is your father connected to all of this then?
I have no idea. I think it's possible they got him out of jail for some reason. It's also possible that he just got out of jail and was desperate and fell in with some bad people. I don't remember him being at all involved with the arcane. I think he's their sort of like hitman type, maybe.
He used to do anything like this before? If that's not too personal.
No, he was a more common flavor of shitty father. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, he was in jail for you're not gonna believe this. He was in jail for gambling debts, actually.
Sorry.
Not so much taking dead people, sewing them back together, reanimating them and using them as henchmen.
That's what you meant by taxidermy.
I think that might be his new hobby.
It's not exactly something you pick up on the fly.
Yeah, perhaps they taught it to him. This seems to be a crew that we should come up with a catchy name for them. But it seems to be a crew that deals in any case, the unnatural, the dark, something along the lines of revivification.
Do you think whatever is in the demon blood that seems to be living could... This is going to sound so crazy, but because it seemed to be aware and alive, and there are these people who seem to have changed according to you guys, that maybe they put that demon blood with that thing in these people and it controls them or changes them, alters their minds.
Could it be
You're talking
like
about Parasite?
Yeah.
It's possible.
It doesn't explain the strange coincidence of one Amelia who's blind and in the docks and one Amelia who's rich and making clothes. But yeah, maybe it's either a parasite or maybe like, can you store a human soul in demon's blood and then like give that to a corpse? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To reanimate the corpse and bring someone back from the dead, so to speak, with a borrowed body?
Maybe.
It's iffy. I mean, if you're going to make a hollow, depending on what you're doing, you take the body and the spirit itself usually just settles on in. If it's a hull, that's more artificial. You'd have to build a shell for it. You'd have to get everything together. I'll make sure all the gears and things are working inside. It's possible somebody's come up with a new way of making hulls out of bodies, artificially treated humans. Maybe that's the case. And this creature, they could have sent somebody out into the Deathlands to run around for a while until they find something that has this method of reproduction, just yank it out and let it loose inside the city.
All
Or
of
it's from
those sound
something completely
terrifying.
different. It's anytime. That's what I've been saying is there's at least 3 different options, none of which are good, and there's always an X factor.
When I first met the spirit, when I first met Elizabeth, she said something about the lightning barriers and showed me something breaking through them. I don't know if that's connected to this, maybe.
I'd bet money on it. I said the barriers are failing. Those keep ghosts out. So either it's a very big ghost or
Or
some
a lot
big
of small
nasty thing
ghosts.
from the Deathlands.
My God. We set out to investigate a minor inventory leakage. And what? Now Doskvol's falling apart and the lightning barriers are failing?
Seems like a convenient use of the two, right? I mean, it's possible one of them is being caused by the other. But if I had to guess, I'd say we're one of the few people that's actually trucking in Leviathan blood that's available for people. Certainly one of the more well-known establishments. We make an easy target. We're just sort of in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right. Well, we've got years of effort and money stockpiled in those bottles.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just let somebody continue taking from it indefinitely.
And they're clearly doing something bad with it.
Very bad. And they're stepping up their aggression towards us. I mean, first it was just stealing and leaving no trace. I'm a little fucking offended that they knocked me out and held such a poorly planned family reunion. I think we need to figure out who's leading this crew and what they want and what they're doing. Thomas has one name, or rather two names that he suggested. Lady Drake is a corrupt magistrate, and we know there's at least one corrupt magistrate involved. And one of the men in the warehouse said his name was Grady, and Thomas used to employ a Hickman Grady of the same, not only name, but appearance, so I think that's him.
Mm-hmm.
He ran off before I could ask him more about it. Possibly because he had something urgent, possibly because I kissed him. Unclear. But also, he has a secret room too. I'm telling you guys, we're the only people without a secret room behind one of our walls. I'm starting to feel unfashionable.
I see the secret room.
Yes, it's still...
You
I pull the book
literally have a
again.
cellar to the I'm just going to put that there. But
I pull the book and the bookshelf comes out again. Yeah.
But yeah, you can you show them into this room and you open that bookcase again. And I think we'll take a break. Here we'll just have a 5-minute break. Everyone, go get a drink, stretch your legs, tell your pets you love them, and we'll be back in a second. Bye. I remember when we were one. A world of wonder, of rich diversity and creatures yet undiscovered. A world of danger, intrigue, and most of all, magic. Hello, everyone. We are back. And you have all just entered this room that Blue is showing. And, well, Blue, you lead the way. You're the one showing them.
So I think Thomas, man of occasional surprises, has been storing a lot of his money here. So all this stuff is quite valuable. There's a portrait series of him and his family. As we've often guessed, I don't think he has any siblings. I think somebody else comes here because you can see the cigar and ashtray, and I've at least never seen Thomas smoke these. But the ashtray is empty, so it's not as if someone was just here a few days ago or something like that. Well, not to be rude, but I did rummage through the drawers a bit, found this key. I think it opens this mirror door situation. I think there might be someone inside it.
Inside it?
Yeah, okay, watch. And I go up to it again and I knock 3 times.
And as you do, it is literally yourself, but a slight delay. You see almost a shimmer of particularly Odessa and Rajani, the wards. You recognize wards and stuff like this. And it's almost like there's a delay on the reflection. Spurs, could you roll me a survey or study, either one, please?
Sure. Position and effect.
Controlled and standard.
Okay. Would you consider this to be a potential threat?
No.
Okay. I just get +1 effect when.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I can make it a threat.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. So, Spurs, you would have actually seen something like this maybe once before, considering your line of work and your past. These mirrors they've kind of, in some way, some people call them watcher mirrors. They call them just the shimmers are one of these things, and they're sometimes used as doors. They're sometimes just put in rooms, and they normally have magical wards cast over them. You recognize that it is they normally protect important things, like whether it's information, whether it's of monetary wealth, or something like that. It basically reads a person. So if, say, you know that if a spirit or a vampire or a husk or something, their reflection will not show in the mirror, and therefore they cannot touch whatever is behind it or close to it. It's a reader, basically.
I hope all of us have reflections.
Everyone now looks mildly concerned.
It's a ward. Sometimes it's a gate.
All right, so I'm just hearing my own knock reflected back.
Yeah, I think. As far as I can tell, these things are sort of like, how would you call it? Like a guard dog, sort of. You put it up, something walks up to it, it sort of reflects back what it is, in a sense. Or at least helps you identify what you're looking at. If we didn't come back through it effectively, we'd know that there was something else going on. As long as you can see yourself, you're probably fine.
All right, well, I guess I see all of our reflections. So in that case, and I just slide the key in, and I'm like, down, boy. And I turn it.
Yeah, it clicks, and it opens. And you can see a set of stairs that run all the way down. Again, it's pretty dark, but you still have the lantern. What would you do? It is cold.
Shall
you
we?
feel like a breeze. If anything, Spurs, this is kind of reminiscent of the tunnel you went through at the Crowfields.
Shall we?
I really want to build another secret tunnel in our lair now.
I know, right?
I want one behind the bookshelf too.
All right, when we put whoever's taking our stock in the dirt, we can have all the secret tunnels we want.
Yeah.
Spurs walks down the stairs first.
All right, I'll follow.
Okay. So Blue has the lantern. So Spurs, you're just in front, and Blue is just behind.
I'll
so
hand him the lantern. I'll hand him the lantern.
Spurs, you can take the lantern, and you head down, and again you can feel a temperature drop as you go down, and this is you can tell pretty much what it is before you even reach the bottom. This is a crypt, and at the bottom are these large set of wrought iron gates, which aren't open, but they share a very similar lock to the key that you put in earlier. And you can see a family crest, sort of almost like a plaque on these gates, half and half. And through you see an almost arched room and two heavy stone, almost like coffins, like these crypts. They're heavy, and they've got like writing all sort of engraved on them all down the side. Again, the family seal is at the back, and you can see down the sides of the walls, even just by looking through the gates, more plaques along the wall with more family names on them.
Charming.
Do we recognize any of these names?
These are all Wainwrights.
As long as one of them isn't Thomas.
Why do they keep them hidden away down here?
Is this question, since I used to kind of know these types of people, are private family crypts common in my memory? Or is this an unusual thing
Amongst
to have?
the wealthy? Usually, yes. It's not necessarily still practiced, so you could almost imagine there won't necessarily be actual bodies in here because, if anything, it'll be cremations because you don't want the bodies to get back up and start walking around. So if anything, this is almost like a tribute. You can guess the remains are here, but more of a tribute than anything else.
All right, so it's not necessarily that weird.
Yeah.
No, it's
It's usually
it's
probably like a
weird.
bunch of urns underneath like
Yeah.
decorative
Yeah.
slabs or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's weirdly a bit like a shrine to the family in
Yeah.
some way. Especially wealthy families, this is not the norm so much anymore, but it was definitely done to keep how they say it, the families together. As much as the spirits leave the body, they keep everything else together.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, it's
All
no
right.
surprise Thomas doesn't want to spend much time here.
Yeah.
Well,
Must be a bit
if there's
depressing.
nothing else suspicious here, I feel a bit bad for prying into something like this. I think we should leave.
I'm sure there's always something suspicious.
Is there anything
Do we feel
Can
any
we-
spooky energy?
Yeah, should someone
If you
can
want
someone
to
do
roll-
an attune?
You can roll in a tune for sure.
Yeah. Can someone who's good at attune roll?
Yes,
do it.
whoever wants to roll a tune can roll an attune. And
Is
it
it-
is risky.
What?
We all have our vices and our secrets.
Yeah.
We don't have to pry.
Yeah, Odessa's just looking at it and turning, going, nah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, Odessa's there like, God, really? Another crypt that we're going to go down.
Yeah.
Rajani just staring pointedly at her while she puts the spirit mask on.
And Rajani, as you do, it's kind of strange. You feel an entity in here. And it is in the crypt. It's behind the gates. And you feel it stood between the two main stone sort of encasements, a hand on each. And it's a little bit recognizable as it stands probably about 8 foot tall, almost like black smoke, as it stands down in this crypt. It doesn't seem to be looking at you for the moment, but it seems very just intrigued by what's round here. But it slowly does look directly towards you. It doesn't move. It doesn't make a run. It doesn't do anything like that. But it just watches you as you watch it through the gate.
We're not alone.
How bad?
It doesn't seem threatening, but it is looking.
Charming.
Who is it? Who is it?
Rajani, you will pick up that this is not a spirit. This is a demon.
Well, it's probably a demon rather than a ghost.
Have you met it before?
It is. I'm just trying to remember. I have to look through my notes.
Is it the one in our basement with 1,000 eyes?
Question: who was it that saw the one attached to Crowfield? Was it
I
Spurs?
think yeah.
Spurs was the one who saw the one attached
There was
to
there was a
Crowfield.
presence.
But I'm able to somewhat recognize it just because I've been near Crowfield. Is that the idea?
It's kind of like you're getting the sense of it. It's
Right.
more that you can feel generating rather than the physical look of it.
Right. There is something familiar about it, but I don't know. It just seems to be watching.
And all of you at that moment, you just get that as it turns towards you, Rajani, it's not moving. but it does it curls these long, almost smoke-like fingers around the bars of the gates, as if it's looking in towards all of you, even though it's on the inside.
Mm.
As it does this, the rest of you just get this waft of rose petals.
Can I see it?
You can't see it. You can smell it.
In the general direction of the scent / where Johnny is looking, I'm just gonna walk up to the gates and just speak to it as if it's a human. What the hell are you?
Oh, steady there, Blue.
Any reaction?
Rajani, you see it tilt its head down towards where Blue is. And it sort of starts, you notice, first of all, where its fingers are holding round the bars. Only you see this. The bars start to melt. And it pushes its head through the bars towards Blue. And it's probably a bad thing.
Yep, Blue, back up, please.
Yep, okay, all right.
Get
All
the Demon
right.
Bane charm at the ready.
All right, I will back up, and my retired spirit warden friend gave me that necklace, and I'll kind of, I still can't see anything, but I'll like kind of hold it and look around.
And it retracts almost as Blue backs away. Rajani, you can see it retract itself back.
I'm going to step forward with the Demon Bane charm out and say, have you been sent to spy on us?
And you see this very almost heavy head shake in no.
Ask it if it's a Wainwright. Like, why is it in their family crypt?
Why are you
No, if
down
it's
here? Are you... Oh, sorry.
No, if it's a devil, it's either here or been called here by someone else.
How long has it been here?
How long have you been down here?
And as you stand by the gate, it doesn't make a move to go for you or anything, but it does step through the bars to the same side of you as it towers over you.
Bane charm.
And it sort of looks around the Bane charm, like you can see it sort of holding its long, sort of wispy fingers out. It brushes it slightly, and you see it withdraw its hand very quickly, but doesn't back off. It's almost like it's intrigued by all of you as much as you are with it. And you don't hear a voice from this thing or anything, but it gives you the sense that you can tell it moves freely. This is not, it's not confined to this Wainwright household. It doesn't seem to be, it's definitely, you can tell from the area and the general feel you're getting right now, it wasn't summoned here, but it's here, and it's kind of like it's looking for something or someone, but you can't get an image in your head. It's almost like this thing will know when it sees it. But you're getting almost a poisonous sense off of this creature.
I gathered up all the materials from the ritual I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So can I say that I have the blood of the vial of demon blood on me, the tainted one?
Yeah. If you want to have carried that with you, you can absolutely carry it with you.
I'm gonna reach into my pocket and pull that out and show it to it,
Mm-hmm.
and just see if it reacts.
Are you holding it up like towards it, or are you just holding it by you?
I'm holding it sort of. I'm holding the demon bane charm here, and then that sort of like slightly in front of it, but not too far in front of it. Just seeing if it reacts at all. Do you know what this is? Does this mean anything to you?
And there's this this moment of where it leans forwards, almost like in that snake-like motion where it weaves its head. It sort of jutters away from the charm you have. But it leans towards the vial, and I mean it almost presses itself up to it to look. And through this smoke of like a figure, an eye snaps open almost as if it was just Jared to look at this vial. It now seems almost disinterested in you. It is looking at the vial. And a sort of that one of those wispy long fingers comes up and runs like smoke down the side of this vial as that thing inside it swirls round and rushes up towards the edge, and they seem to mimic each other as they move.
Is it the same color? Like, does the smoke in the vial look like the smoke from which this demon is made?
It has a similar kind of thing. You can tell they're different, but it is very similar. And this, to Rajani anyway, this demon makes an almost... It's a weird sound that you've not heard a thing like this make before. It's kind of clicking. But it's almost like a heavy breathing, but with a rhythm to it. And this thing moves almost exactly in time with the demon in front of you. And then it looks up directly towards you with that one eye.
Sorry, which has the eye? Is it the demon or the thing?
Big
in the vial?
old demon. Big old demon.
Okay. I mean, I don't think you can all see the thing that I can see, but you can see how the blood is reacting to it, right?
Yes, what's it doing? What's the big demon doing?
Exactly the same thing as whatever is in this vial. They're like mirroring each other.
Mother and child?
There's something between them.
You don't feel care here. You feel familiarity. It's just what I'll say for Rajani.
Yeah. A familiarity for sure. I don't know of what nature.
It'd just be this smaller part of the same thing.
Maybe.
Yes. Like a severed finger, basically. Like they've cut off pieces of it.
Maybe.
I'm about to sever this thing's finger.
Yeah, I
Can
would recommend
we?
we stay very much longer.
I can. I don't know about you, but
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily trying to hurt us.
Oh my god, Rajani, you can see the good in anything.
Well, if it wanted to kill us, I feel like it would have tried by now, don't you?
Does it?
it's definitely biding its time one way or another.
Does it know the Crowfields? Is there a way to ask it that? Oh, does it know who took this little piece of it?
I mean, it's not really speaking to me, but I can try sort of get feelings from it. Does the name Crowfield mean anything to you? Carlisle Crowfield, Amelia Crowfield.
You
They
get a
had
pang of familiarity, but no care. There's
Okay.
no hate there. There's no love there. It's just... But you do hear a knock somewhere at the door. And Rajani, as you do, you watch this demon's head snap up. And for a moment, you are hit by this wave of nausea as it just passes straight through you in a dash to get out as it runs towards this front door.
So it just ignores the demon bane charm completely.
It completely ignores it and runs straight through you.
Yeah, I guess I would see her not convulse with like pain, almost just shock, because she doesn't expect it to be able to move through the demon bane charm. And she just kind of staggers back and turns to look at wherever it's going to see if she can see like...
It's heading out of the crypt. It is heading up, out, and where that knock at the door was, You get the sense it's being drawn towards that.
Yeah.
I am at the top of the crypt. I did not fully enter
Mhm.
because I did not want to snoop. If there's anything you'd like to tell me, please do.
You don't feel the nausea or anything, but there's a second where you feel like when someone blows like smoke, like from a cigar into your eyes or something like that, it's a woof, and your eyes sting, and you feel as if something physically throws you back, so much so you have to stagger a little bit. Somewhere you can hear Draco screeching, which you know is coming from like the front where the main hall area was, which is where he landed and stayed.
Did we just let a demon loose? I'm gonna run out to the front door and try to see who's out there.
Since I saw Rajani convulse, I'm just gonna put a hand on her shoulder. Rajani, are you okay? What happened? Did he attack you?
No, I didn't. I don't think it meant to attack me. It just moved right through me when it heard that knock at the door.
Well, that tears it. And Spurs thunders up the stairs, trusting that things are in hand.
Yeah, I'll follow. As I leave the crypt, though, I'm just gonna turn on and whisper to like the nearest Wainwright, just like, sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow Blue.
Odessa, you get there first. You see this lingering. You get the feeling. You don't see it actually. You get the lingering of that. Whatever just made you fall back is lingering by the front door. As there's a heavy knock again, and you've got Draco screeching in its direction, sort of hissing, snapping, and all of that.
Can I see who's at the door through a window or something?
Yes, you can. Are you trying to do this subtly, or do you not care if they see you?
No, I don't care. I just want to know who's there.
Okay. You look outside. You can definitely look through one of the windows by the curtains. You see a very well-dressed woman. The other side, blonde hair, sort of pulled up, very neat. Earrings sort of dropping down from her ears. Very, very dark eyes. And there are 2 men with her. You recognize Spirit Wardens straight away. They've got the uniform on. She looks very sour-mouthed is the best way to describe it. Looks very pinched. Like, this woman does not smile a lot. She looks very sort of tense, and she stands very upright and very, very sharp features. And she knocks again as she sort of glances towards you at the window.
Can I help you?
Yes, I believe this is the property of the Wainwrights. Who are you? Would you mind coming to the door? It's much easier to talk to you properly rather than through a window.
I'd prefer not to. I've become rather ill, and I don't intend to spread this illness to anyone else, so we can speak right through the window if you don't mind.
And you can see her just close her eyes for a moment, but she walks over to the window, the 2 watchers with her. How may I greet you?
You can call me Miss Ward.
Hello, Miss Ward. My name is Lady Drake. I am a magistrate, if you do not know me already. I have a warrant for Mr. Thomas Wainwright's arrest. Is he at home?
I was not aware this was his home, and so I don't believe anyone but me is here.
And she sort of turns to look at you for a long moment. And at this point, Spurs, you definitely get there. Whether you choose to go up to the window or not, that's completely up to you. But you can see Odessa like looking through. She's not like throwing the curtains over, it's just looking there.
Yeah, he's more concerned with trying to figure out where the creature's gone than anything else. So he's not going to the window, but he's sort of like trying to get a sense of where it is.
Yeah, could you roll me and attune, please, if you want to try and
Yeah,
sense
he's
exactly
opening
where
up
it
the
is.
ghost field to do that.
Yeah. Risky, please.
Okay. And the effect would be...
Ooh, I think it's standard for now.
Okay. In that case, I believe I bumped that up to great effect because I'm looking for possible threats in the situation.
Okay.
So fingers crossed this works out.
Okay.
Yay, new abilities.
So you can see all of a sudden, it's almost like that one point where, what does it look like when Spurs tunes in, basically?
So he's covered in all of these tattoos. They're Severosian origin, and they start to sort of inlay. It's almost like the tattoos themselves just sort of glow like heated metal. And he, I think, like when he gets up there, looks around, closes his eyes, tugs on the spirit bane charm that's under his neck, and like lets out a little breath. And as he lets out that breath, it's almost like a small bit of like a lick of flame escapes his mouth, and his eyes reopen, sort of with a glowing tinge around them, so that he can see what's happening around him.
And as you reopen them, it's that moment where you reopen, you look up, and that dark smoke is right in front of you. As it looks down towards you, you can't see any eyes at the moment, but it is right in front of you. You feel how dangerous its presence is. You feel also that it's not that it's disinterested in you, it's trying to figure out, almost like by connecting, you opened yourself up for it to connect to you as much as to you to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it stands like inches away. It's so close to you, you can smell a mixture of rose petals and like burning sulfur. It's a weird mix. And you can hear its raspy sort of breath as it hangs over you. And it kind of leers to your face. Like, it gets quite close. Again, you don't feel like it's going to snap. You don't feel like it's going to do anything like that. Like it's sniffing you back.
We've got to stop meeting like this. People are going to talk. I want to know, what do they intend to do?
You get the intention that it's not just the Lady Drake, the minister, that is here for Thomas Wainwright. This thing is looking for Thomas. You get the feeling that Thomas doesn't know this. But you also feel like this thing has been growing in strength. It's not always been like this. It's definitely growing, and you feel like it knows this house fairly well. You feel like it's been here a long time. Was not summoned here, but it's been
like
here a long time.
Sitting and biding its time. Yeah. Okay.
You start to think there might be a reason that Thomas comes to the bar to drink.
So Spurs gets this whole sense, and he brushes back his coat a little bit, and he says, listen, friend, I know you want Tom, and Tom's a bastard. I get that you're probably looking to get what you feel like you owe from him. And while Tom's a bastard, he's our bastard. So I'll be relieving you of any opportunity to collect on whatever you think he owes you. And from his leg, he's got a hand axe strapped that he unlatches. So it's like you would use it for like maybe cutting meat or wood, but it's clearly been repurposed and tooled up. It's very sharp. It's got a very sharp point on the back, and very well sculpted. So he unstraps that, and the tattoos glow, transferring the iron, like hot metal aesthetic from his arm into the blade so that it glows like it's supernaturally hot. And he just hacks at whatever is the nearest appendage that it has.
Awesome. Okay, roll a skirmish for me, please. This is risky.
Okay. With standard effect, limited?
No, great, please.
Great, okay. +1 bonus die. That's a 6.
Awesome, yeah. Okay, describe what the closest limb to you right now is its hand, as it's almost, you feel it reads a lot of things with its hands, so that the arm itself is sort of not outstretched, but again, it's sort of moving around you. So describe what it looks like as you hack it off.
Okay, so I think it's gotten real close. It's done the like sniffing sensation. Maybe like that bit in Aliens where the xenomorph is right next to Ripley and like breathing. And so Spurs is like constant eye contact, unstraps, pulls the axe. The camera would go down. The heat goes into the axe. And then I think it goes for him first. So it shoots its like demonic arm down at him. And he sees it. He's expecting this to happen. And so as the hand comes down, he goes, no. I'll tell you when I want to be touched. Swings back up with the axe, and catches it in an upward arc as it comes down.
Yeah, you have this moment where you know how these things work sometimes. Normally the hands access like as an attachment, almost like a pincer into someone. It's sometimes how they attach themselves to people. You saw the arm coming down, and as you slice up, it looks like smoke leaving, but you distinctly felt a blade go through something solid. And you hear this screech, and I mean ear-piercing screech. You can hear Draco freaking out Rajani. Where you are back with Blue, you almost feel like you want to fall to your knees with how loud this is. You can hear it. It's like you are hearing this creature. And Spurs, as you look at it, it reels back, and you can see distinctly this thing, this almost part of its limb is now gone, and it sits on the floor for a while before starting to disperse into the air. That smell even worse now as it screeches and writhes, and it sort of bows over, and at that it flicks its head up, and you see eyes as it looks towards you, and it turns and it runs through the front door. And Odessa, you don't see it, but you see the two spirit watchers. Their eyes suddenly get very, very wide, and they both make this almost animalistic sound as they both stop and just drop back and down onto the floor, completely out. And Lady Drake sort of turns around and is like, would you get up? As they sort of like, they've just dropped, and they lay there for a good 2 minutes before they start coming round. But Lady Drake looks towards you and is, so, I will return. If Thomas does come home, please let me know.
Where would I find you?
At the magistrate's court. It's
Okay,
not
great.
far from here. Yeah, it's not a close curtain. Bye!
Good to know. Catch you later.
And you get a distinct huff as she turns and walks away, a lot faster than the spirit watchers that are currently gathering themselves as they try and catch up. She's got a strong stride on her.
turn back to them. So much for no one knowing that this was Thomas's place.
Yeah. When Rajani and I get in, we're like, what? I'm like, what did we miss?
Yeah, I think as you're coming up the stairs, Spurs like shoves his head down and like taps the wall with the axe and says, "They're playing our song, ladies.
What?
It's time to go."
To warn Thomas or?
That would be a fair assessment, but we're getting a lot of heat. We should go.
Yeah, okay. Is there a back door that I saw that we could leave out of instead of the front door?
There is a back door. You definitely.
Yeah. Let's go out the back way, maybe, just to be subtle. I feel guilty. I think we should warn Thomas that he's about to be arrested.
Forget arrested. He's gonna get eaten.
Oh yeah. Wait. What?
That thing wants him. I had to tell him hands off.
For
What
like
the hell does he
to
do?
talk?
Is that what that sound was then?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well he's probably at his other place. Let's go there and warn him and then maybe go back to the casino or go hide somewhere else. What's the fastest like means of travel?
You will know that the carriages are around, especially in this area. The magistrates are here, the watchers are here. They're going backwards and forwards. Like anything, it'd be a matter of hailing one.
Please remember to lock up that crypt so nothing else can get out.
Yeah, so I'll head back upstairs and leave everything where I found it. So close the mirror door, put the key back in the drawer, close the bookshelf, and then come back down. I'm going to do this very, very hastily.
Yeah, you can do it quickly enough. You can definitely. And whilst that's happening, is someone outside trying to get hold of a carriage, or are you all deciding to walk?
No, we should get a carriage.
Yeah.
Rajani's still pretty shaken, so I don't know if she's going to run out into the street and get a carriage, but...
Yeah. You can wait for Blue, and then Blue can almost help you out to the street. You have got this... It's like a residue you're feeling. Spurs, you feel it as well, but it's a very different effect due to your encounter. It's the best way to describe how it feels for Spurs is that the Spurs is killed before. It's that same feeling like when you have blood on your clothing. You feel like it's on you. You want to get out of these clothes and you can smell it on you. But with Rajani, it's you feel out of it. You feel hazy. You can see everything going on around you, but it's almost like having a migraine build where it ran straight through you. But you can hail a carriage. And where are you going?
I feel like we should get to Thomas.
Yeah, we'll give it Thomas's other address that I just came from in... I forget the district.
Whitestone? No,
we're in Whitestone. Charter Hall. Yes, his place in Charter Hall.
And you can head there. And the carriage gets... is there anything you want to discuss on the carriage whilst you're on your way there, whilst there's privacy and moving, basically?
Well, it's been down there for a long time, whatever that is. If I had to guess, I'd say there's a reason why Wainwright doesn't like to stick around at home. Some people have bad families. Seems like he's got more than a few skeletons in his closet.
Oh yes, demons in your crypt. It's like the next level skeletons in your closet. Is it a family thing, do you think? Or like...
Couldn't say. It's been down there for a long time, though. It definitely wasn't called there by anybody. It's sort of been bubbling up. If I didn't know any better, I'd say there's something in his past, maybe a family bargain that was made long ago, or...
But if it wants to harm him, why hasn't it done it yet, if he's been there before?
It hasn't been strong enough, perhaps. That's my guess. It's definitely been down there long enough that it's sort of grown.
Oh. How's it getting stronger? Like, is it imbibing something? Is someone feeding it?
Well, it had the same scent, didn't it?
As
As Carlisle.
Well, if that's the case, you think that they're closer than we thought.
It's the only thing I can think of that connects it to anything.
Hey, you all right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Johnny, I know it's a lot, but we need you. If there's anybody that's going to be able to figure this whole thing out, whether it's what are we going to do, right? Blue can talk to anybody into or out of anything. Odessa trusts to track down anybody, and there's a killer shot. I can hack up anything that comes our way. Only you can see these things.
Mm-hmm.
If your head's in the game, we'll all come out of this together.
Thanks. I'll be fine. Don't worry.
And Lady Drake wants to arrest him. That's who was at the door. Knew
Right.
that was his house.
I'm gonna offer Rajani my flask if you want.
For the second time today.
Yes.
You're
Hey, it
feeling-
always makes me feel better.
You're feeling rather merry, Rajani, as this happens. Yeah.
And it's not even noon.
So his instinct was right. Lady Drake is, I don't know if I'd say that maybe she's the mastermind behind all of this. She's definitely involved. I don't understand this crew. They want to arrest Wainwright, probably get a hold of his demon blood. And one of their members is consorting with a demon that lives in his home as well. Is this demon controlling Carlisle? Is it feeding on
Well, there's
Carlisle?
something latched onto him, certainly. If it's the same presence, then either he's the patsy, or he made a deal and got the short end of the stick on it. One way or another, I don't think Carlisle's driving.
Perhaps whatever it is
Hmm.
wants Carlisle or his people to produce these. She holds up the vial. These things. Maybe this makes them stronger. Maybe this makes more of them.
Well, it certainly makes him stronger, no matter what.
So, okay, so the smoke demon thing was familiar with the thing in the little vial. It seems like maybe it's a piece of it. Carlisle is being controlled by something similar. Maybe Carlisle imbibed this, right? And that's why he now smells like roses and is being controlled by it.
Well, he's got one of them in him,
Yeah, like maybe he drank it
or was fed it.
or was fed it. Maybe it was some kind of deal, like bring his sister back and he'll serve as like a body for them.
Maybe he was desperate enough to do
Yeah.
it.
That would make sense because no one's ever heard of the Crowfields as some kind of powerful occult family, bringing back their dead and all things like that. So yeah, maybe he made a deal. Or maybe, I don't know, this is going to sound crazy, but like maybe this started, Wainwright deals in demon blood, and this thing has been in his house for a long time. Maybe he accidentally kickstarted this somehow. Do you know what I mean?
That's not too crazy.
Like if he was keeping demon blood at home and this thing also lives in his family crypt and he doesn't know about it. I don't know. I don't know if maybe he hasn't been being honest with us at all. Maybe he knows a lot more than he's shared.
I don't know if Thomas is ever honest with anybody, least of all himself.
Oh, join the party, I suppose. Oh, did you guys ever find out what happened to the Dimmer sisters' necklace?
That's a loose end we haven't tied up yet.
Wait, didn't we find
You
it?
saw an image of it on the painting.
That was
Oh.
it. Yeah.
The
It was-
image of Amelia was
Yeah.
she was wearing it.
Yeah. Yes, it was around Amelia's neck in the painting. Well, I haven't found the real one, but
My God. We're gonna have to start denoting like old Amelia, like new Amelia.
yeah. Yeah, this was Amelia in the painting, so I guess original Amelia. Maybe. Who knows how many bodies she's had.
Well, once we reach Thomas's, do we want to go back to the casino? Do we think it's safe to go back to the casino? People know where to find us, it seems.
Well,
I couldn't say.
what do we need at the casino? Our supply isn't there anymore.
Yeah, if it's been made,
that's
better
true.
to let it burn down.
Oh my God. So many months of work. I suppose we'll just have to maybe we could put a sign up, closed until further notice. Closed for renovations.
Yeah, sure. Oh, I was mostly there for the blood thing anyway, so.
You said your father was the one in the carriage with you when you woke up, right, Blue?
I woke up in the warehouse, and there were 2 guards, fairly nondescript. This brown-haired man, Hickman Grady, and a woman with glowing purple eyes. I think she was their Rajani, so to speak. But she didn't say anything to me, didn't do much. And then they sort of summoned my father in to escort me in this carriage to the 13th floor so I could retrieve our supply. Those are real things. I don't know why I'm using air quotes.
He didn't say who encouraged him to reach out to you. He was working for someone.
I asked, but he didn't share any names. Not the warmest filial relationship. I did think that he clearly wasn't the person in charge, if that makes sense. Like he was like summoned into the room. Like he's not the mastermind. Also, trust me when I say I don't think my father could mastermind his way out of a paper bag. So no, I think there's someone smarter, scarier, and probably richer.
I mean, if we've been being watched and followed, maybe someone knew that your father would get to you somehow and thought to use him as leverage over you.
Possibly. I shall relish the thought that he can't credit himself with getting out of jail either then. Perhaps someone broke him out to get to me. That would be both his entrance and exit then that I'm responsible for. I mean, I think we've just stumbled into something much bigger than our little operation. Like, out of character, I have to assume that whatever amount of demon blood, like, Thomas's Leviathan ship brings in, like, with every trip, we're only taking a very small portion of it, right? We're not, like, major demon blood runners in this city.
No, I think you've got, if you would have to have warehouses like Thomas. He has, that's why he's down by the docks, because of his business. It's why he can do it. So it wouldn't be on a huge scale.
With like a select clientele.
Yeah. We're like small fish in comparison to whatever shark has been circling us.
Yeah, that's what worries me. That there's more things at play than we know about, and I don't like not knowing things.
Do we know anyone else who... I mean, I'm just trying to think of everyone who's involved, right? So there's us. The Dimmer sisters lost this necklace, and it seems like the Crowfields took that, but not much else. So maybe they were just after that one specific necklace. Thomas, who someone's clearly trying to get to all of his supply as well. I'm sure anyone else who has Leviathan ships, maybe, but we don't really know any of them well. We could try and talk to some of them and see if they're missing anything. I don't know. Do we know anyone else in the city who deals in demon blood?
The most you know is one, your clients. You don't know where they go after that. Like, you send out to them. You know the Dimmer sisters use it. You basically know what they use it for. Obviously, you know Thomas, but you don't know any other massive distributors, usually, because it's not something you shout about as a distributor. That's how you get yourself broken into, stuff stolen, killed. Like, it's not something you normally share.
Well, I'm going to do some of my own reconnaissance in my spare time. I don't know where we're going right now in a carriage, but since it's not the casino and we don't really have a place in mind, I will just hop off at a corner of an intersection. I'll say, I will, if you want to meet up, I'll be back at the casino by tomorrow afternoon, but I'm gonna go see what I can find out on my own.
All right, Odessa? Be careful. You're the only one who knows where our stuff is, so I'm afraid that makes you rather the most interesting target.
I agree, but for right now, we're the only ones who know that I'm the only one who knows where that is. But don't worry. I'm good at disappearing.
And the carriage does slow down as you can knock on the roof. And it will let you hop off at one of the corners. Where do you want it to drop you? Is there a specific place in general? Like a safe distance from...
A safe distance from the Red Lamp District.
Yeah. And the rest of you watch Odessa sort of get off this carriage. You see Draco launch himself from the roof of the carriage and sort of not stay close, but definitely above Odessa, almost as if watching her on the way. And the rest of you can head towards Thomas's. And you round the corner, and there's this moment where you pull up. You don't even have a chance to get off of the carriage as you stand outside his house. And in that split moment, there is a crash as from the second story window, a spirit warden crashes through it as he is thrown out onto the street and land on the pavement. You also see this sort of moment and this struggle as it goes on. There is more crashing. There's sort of things being thrown as it is. And as this happens, you see people in the street. They're stopping. They're trying to figure out what on earth is going on. And you hear a gunshot go off at the same time as the door at the bottom is flung open, and you see a boot kick another spirit warden sort of out into the street as Thomas steps out with a pistol in hand, and he sort of he doesn't shoot the spirit warden anywhere too vital, but you just hear in a very gruff voice, "I told you, I have no idea what the 13th floor is," and he shoots the spirit warden in the leg. And at that point, coming out of the house, you see him knocked to the ground as 5 or 6 other spirit wardens come crashing onto him. The pistol drops as they start trying to drag him away. Is there anything you would like to do?
Applaud him.
Thomas, I didn't know you were a bad boss.
I am gonna fling open the door of the carriage, and can I have anything with me?
What do you want? Flashback scene.
Yeah, when I was at his other house, I picked up a throwing knife.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. It's probably not super. It's probably more fancy. If it is, it's more ornamental. But hey, it's kind of sharp.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna fling open the door and throw it at one of the spirit wardens on top of him.
Okay. Rajani, what are you doing?
Rajani has a pistol.
Okay.
Are you shooting?
We gave Rajani a gun. You won't believe what happens next.
When you give a Rajani a gun.
Yeah, she's just, I guess, sort of like snaps into action and leaps out after Blue. And I don't know if she's gonna shoot right away, but she will at least like get it out and point it at them.
Yeah, you can lift yourself out of the carriage as much as you were feeling a little bit shaky before. It's almost like this has snapped you out of it, that adrenaline. You see them piling on top of Thomas. This other spirit warden currently at his feet is groaning as he is dragging his leg, which is currently bleeding all over the floor. The other spirit warden that was thrown out of the second story window is not moving. But he is sort of being dragged away, and you can sort of position yourself with that pistol out. And Blue, you swing out with the blade. Spurs, what are you doing?
Vaults out, dives, like, he's in the building. So Spurs just vaults through the nearest window. And starts trying to yank these guys off of him. And while wrestling, is trying to have a brief conversation. You're a popular man, Tommy. Looks like your dance card's pretty full. You mind if I cut in?
And as that happens, he sort of kicks one of them off towards you. He sort of looks you dead in the eye, goes, I said I didn't have any friends. And as Rajani stands there with the pistol out, Blue with the blade, and Spurs about to launch into action as he crashes through the remnants of this window, we will leave it there this week and come back to a full-on skirmish next week.
Oh my gosh.
So thank you, everyone. Hang on, let's calm down this music, otherwise I'm going to get hype without meaning to. Hang on. As we head down. So, everyone, please check out all of these wonderful faces around the table. They all do wonderful things. Please go and check them all out. And the fabulous things they do. Also, a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Maychan Press. You can check out their Dark Matter and their Faith Folio on Wednesdays. The Deck of Many. Keep your eyes peeled for that Kickstarter because the stuff is looking amazing. Some really awesome stuff coming out. Also Hero Forge with the colored minis, which you can see on our new show now every Wednesday at 2 p.m. EDT as we are trying out their beta, and also Dungeon Fog for your map and note-taking needs, where everything gets updated as you add to the other. Some awesome stuff. Please check out the links just coming up now. That includes the Discord. We have a channel just for this game. We would love to hear your theories and what you think. If you've missed out on anything, you can head over to our YouTube and catch it all there. All of our campaigns are put into playlists, so they are easy for you to follow. Also, if you would like to get into a game, go over and drop Scrat a DM on Twitter and we will get you one, because more and more people should be playing TTRPGs. Otherwise, keep evoking emotions and we will see you next week. Bye.